Every steampunk story needs a network humming beneath the city. Pipes, tubes, pressure lines carrying something faster than anyone on the surface realizes. Ours has one too. But before we invented it, London actually built one. Real tubes, real capsules, real speeds that sound made up. This is the true story of the Pneumatic Despatch Company and how the Victorian internet was buried, forgotten, and almost completely erased.
The idea started with a simple complaint. London's mail was too slow. In 1859, engineers proposed something radical, an underground tube network built specifically to move mail and parcels faster than any horse-drawn cart could manage on the surface. The Pneumatic Despatch Company was formed that same year, raising capital to design, build, and operate what amounted to a private underground railway for letters.
Here's how it actually worked. Underground tubes carried narrow-gauge tracks and wheeled iron capsules, some weighing up to 3 tons, rode inside them, fitted with rubber flaps that created an airtight seal. A colossal fan, 21 feet across and driven by a 30-horsepower steam engine, did the rest. Air pressure shoved a capsule forward, and reversing the fan created suction that pulled the empty capsule back. No tracks above ground, no traffic, no weather, just pressure and iron moving through darkness. The company tested the concept first at a foundry in Birmingham, then built a full-scale trial tube in London in the summer of 1861, over 400 yards long, with curves and a steep gradient built in deliberately to prove the system could handle a real city's geography, not just a straight demonstration line. It worked. Capsules reached 40 miles an hour underground, carrying loads up to 3 tons, on a system nobody outside the company had ever seen operate. The first real line opened between 2 London postal stations in February 1863, barely a third of a mile, but proof the idea could run daily service. A single capsule could carry dozens of mail bags and complete the trip in about 1 minute, with more than a dozen scheduled runs a day. It was fast, it was strange, and for a brief window, it looked like the future of urban mail. Success bred ambition. The company pushed for a much larger network, new tunnels reaching further across the city, eventually connecting toward the General Post Office itself. By 1869, capsules were reaching their destinations in under 20 minutes, hitting speeds up to 60 miles an hour, genuinely astonishing for anything moving underground in Victorian London, let alone a system built entirely from air pressure and rubber seals.
And then, quietly, it started falling apart. Not in one dramatic collapse, but in 100 small, embarrassing failures. Trials found the tubes weren't actually saving meaningful time once loading and unloading were factored in. Worse, parcel capsules kept jamming inside the tunnels, requiring workers to physically dig them out. A newspaper account from the era named exactly this, trucks continually getting stuck, as the real reason the whole system collapsed. By 1874, the Postal Service had walked away entirely. The company that had built London's underground internet went into liquidation the following year. The tunnels didn't vanish, they just went quiet. For decades afterward, the disused tubes sat forgotten beneath London, occasionally rediscovered by workers digging for something else entirely, or breached without authorization by people who had no idea what they'd found. It wasn't until the 1920s that the last unused infrastructure was finally sold off for scrap value. 2 of the original capsules survived the demolition. One now sits in a London museum, the other in a railway museum in York. Quiet metal relics of a network that once moved faster than anything else in the city,
and then disappeared so completely that most Londoners today have never heard it existed.
That's the real history behind every pressurized tube and hissing valve in our fiction series. A genuine Victorian network that actually worked, actually moved things at highway speed through the dark, and still failed for reasons as mundane as a jammed truck in a tunnel. The steam age didn't need fiction to be strange. It already was. Next time, we ask a bigger what if. Could Charles Babbage's analytical engine have actually been built? And what would the computer age have looked like a century early? Subscribe and keep listening for what's moving beneath the street.